Hey guys, how you doing? My name is Lena. Welcome back to another video. So today we're going to just chill for a bit, I'm coming back after just like a week of recording and everything. So today we're going to talk about Age of Ash by Daniel Abraham, which, in case you didn't know, is one of the co-authors of The Expanse. So I've always wanted to just like read his fantasy works, but it just didn't happen. That's it. It just didn't happen. Because I saw that he was coming out with this one and it actually looked really good. I requested it on NetGalley and I was able to get an arc, basically. So I read it a bit after it came out. My pre-order hasn't arrived yet, as you can see, because I'm putting an image up here. But it will probably be here in a couple of weeks. So, context out of the way, let me just tell you a bit about what Age of Ash is about. We're going to be centered around the town of Kitamar, mostly. Most of the story takes place here, and it's like at the epicenter of everything that's happening. So, we're going to follow two main POVs, Alice and Shamish. They are basically... Can we call them friends? Because sometimes they just don't feel like friends. Both of them basically con people together. They are thieves, and one of them is kind of like the... it's kind of like the mark, and the other one takes... It's weird, you know? It gets explained a little bit more how they do the pulls, basically, in the book. Everything seems to be just pretty fine until Alice's brother, Darrow, appears dead in the river. Someone killed him, and Alice just goes into this kind of trying to find out what happened, and also everything is more intricate than it looks, and Shamish is just concerned about her all the time. That's basically all that it is at the beginning of this book. I'm not going to talk spoilers. So that is basically the premise of the book. For some reason, I thought we were going to explore more of Kitamar. It feels like the city is just like divided between two zones, like Lone Hill, which is like the poor part of the city basically, and what appears to be like more of an upper class type of part of the town. But honestly, I feel like we only just explored Lone Hill, which I think is a bit of a weird take, especially in a book that only takes place in a city except for a very brief segment of it. As someone who really likes world building, I have to say that this book delivered, and it also didn't. I think it has more to do with the writing style than the world building, because I think the world building was fine, but it certainly wasn't over the top. I think that even sometimes it was a little bit lackluster. Like, I was just like, okay, give me a little bit more of the history of this place. But it's just, everything is summed up in just like, Lone Hill is going to be Lone Hill. And I just don't like that part. There's a lot of despair in this book. I wouldn't consider it grimdark, but definitely it could be just like dark fantasy. So it is weird. The world building in this one is very weird because, you know, I love like just like my huge world building in general. So in this one, I was a bit disappointed. Not going to lie. Let me just tell you a bit about the writing style. So I had no idea Daniel Abraham had like this great of a talent. Like, The Expanse feels more of a straight to the point type of writing. It's not flowery. It's just like, we're going here, which is something that I actually really like. I'm not one that really cares about the writing. Like, it could be bad and I will still enjoy the book if the plot is good enough. But extremely flowery lyrical writing does bother me a little bit. Not too much, but I do feel like sometimes when a author, someone like, I don't know, Lena Taylor, for example, is just describing something with so much detail, so everything is so lyrical. I just want to go with the action, you know? Like, I do not want to be here listening to the, I don't know, the description of snow falling in the city, which has already fallen, you know? I already know this, like, you have already told me, so I don't need you to describe me this in every single season. Like, it's fine. So, in this case, I have to say that even though I can acknowledge that it's beautiful, the writing style took me out of the story a lot of times. Like, I was very invested at the beginning. I don't know why, but I was clicked with it. I was just like, yes, this is great. But the more I read, the more I was just like, oh my god, what a long paragraph. And it would just be just like, yeah, stuck in like very, I felt like non-important things. Like, I'm super okay with you describing the world, but give me more world building and less description, you know? We can find a balance, and I think that this time around, the balance was not there. Like, there was so much like descriptive writing instead of just having extreme like big world building, which does not resonate really good with me, but still, I can go past that. Do I have to say that sometimes I skim some paragraphs? Yes, I'll be honest with that. But overall, it was fine, okay? It was fine. Something that you can go beyond, like, it's fine. Because I quite like the plot and the characters. I do have to say that on my review, like on my reading review, I said that characters were a bit meh, and I still stand by that point, but I do have to say that I have remembered these characters, which is not something that happens a lot. Again, as I've told you a million times, I'm a plot-driven reader, so I usually pay more attention to the plot instead of the characters. But I have to say that I do remember every single character in this book, which is curious enough. So let's just talk about them before we talk about the plot. And then we can mix some magic system in there too. Basically, we have Alice. She's just trying to fill her brother's boots. Basically, she's pretty annoying. I was really behind her at the beginning, but then she was just complaining all the time. So I was just like, girl, shut up. Though I have to say that I was kind of more on her side than on Samish's. But I found like her part of the story was much more intriguing, and like, let's just call the other part was just like Andromeda and such was so much more interesting than Samish and Safa. So I was just like, okay, I'm going with them. Just like, let me go. Besides that, there's not that much about her. Like, she's just obsessed with being Darrow, and she has this really distorted image of him, and you can tell it. But besides that, in Samish felt a lot like relax. Alice, sometimes I couldn't like really discern whose point of view we were following, because I don't know, she felt the same, but you have like a few clues, like Samish just like never gets noticed. So that is a pretty like cool talent. Like, she believes her own lies until she just can go past everything and it's fine. For someone who is basically a thief, she comes with such morals at the beginning of the story. It's just like, what? Wait, what? So I do have to say that I didn't like her. At first, like, my likability grew along their story. But at first I was just like, nah. She's just like, she feels like this kind of like preachy type of character. Being just like, oh sure, whatever you want to do. She was a little bit annoying sometimes, but overall, okay. Like, I prefer Samish over Alice. Then we have Andromeda and Tregalo, which I felt were the most interesting part of this story, honestly, and I wish we could follow them more. Andromeda and Tregalo were definitely minor POVs. I wish we had more. I'm very intrigued by Tregalo in general, and Andromeda felt as such a compelling character. I was a little bit mad about what happened in the middle of the novel, but still, I really liked them. Their story was super cool. They felt a little bit flat because we don't spend that much time with them, but still, the most interesting pair by far. Then we have Safa, which I don't know why she was even in there, honestly. Like, I don't know, she's there. She's more of a secondary character, not that much going on. Even though the story revolves around her mostly, it's just like, like, I feel like her capabilities are so suppressed in this first book that nothing that happens made me be just like, oh my god, I like Safa so much. She starts great, and then towards the end, she just like shrinks a little bit. I don't know, probably grief, but I'm just like, didn't love it. But as I've told you, they were still pretty interesting, and I have remembered all of them. So Daniel Abraham did something really good in here. It's just that I'm not probably the one to just appreciate it on the fullest, which is super weird. But let's just talk about the plot for a bit. So it's a pretty simple plot. It's pretty straightforward. Like, basically Alice is looking for her brother's murderer, and that's only kind of the beginning because we go on a tangent. She basically ends up working for Andromeda, which was really cool. That part I really like. That was my favorite part. Everything related to that aspect, I was very on board, which is very tight and related with the magic system. We barely have any magic in this novel. Like, most of the magic is just contained between, let's just call him like the prince, like the dead prince, and Andromeda. So it's just like mostly set in there. I won't talk about it too much because spoilers, but I wish we had more. Like, it feels interesting, but for example, there's kind of a, it's not a duel, but two characters get to face one another, and it's very underwhelming because that part of the magic, I felt like it wasn't explained at all. Like, they were just like staring at each other very intensely, and it's just like the magic is described like I felt like it was the same as it is described in the Wheel of Time TV show, like thread weaving. Felt a lot like that. Maybe it was just in my head, but for me it felt a lot like that. But yeah, this part was the most interesting, and what I think made me like want to keep going with the book. I'm not going to say it's bad, you know, I actually really like this one. Even though I sound very like disappointed, I actually really like it because I feel like it has left like a lasting impression on me, which is not something that happens a lot recently. I've been really like meh with all my reading in general. There's something about this one that I actually really like, but I cannot pinpoint what it is because the plot is not like plot heavy. So I don't know, but I actually really like it. I cannot explain it. Like, it was just a good book to just read and appreciate. And I actually really liked being on a new world, and I do want to see not the world expand, but I want to know more about Katamar. And if you have read this, you know what I mean in both senses. So I'm really excited to actually continue this series probably next year, I think. But yeah, I basically ended up giving this one 4 stars, though I have to say that I feel like it's more of a 3.75, but still very enjoyable. Like, it's weird. It's a very weak smear. It's a very weird mix. I don't know who I would recommend this book to, honestly. Like, I feel like if you're a more like an avid fantasy reader, you would appreciate it more. And if you just like a more lyrical type of writing, probably. But besides that, I don't know. I don't know. So have you read Age of Ash? It has already come out. It came out on the 17th of January? No, of February. So if you have read it, please just let me know. If you are planning on reading it, just let me know down in the comments below. But as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye.